All right. Push away the viewfinder because otherwise I'll just stare at it. Hey guys, Jacob from Memento Christi here. I'm doing something a little different. I'm making a YouTube video. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm working on a really special project for my brother. He's starting to discern the priesthood, which is pretty cool. And I thought he could use a crucifix. So I was trying to get this to him before Christmas, but Christmas is in like 3 days or 4 days now. So it's pretty doubtful that I'll be able to finish this thing and get it off to him in that time. But hopefully I'll be able to get it to him within the 12 days of Christmas. That'd be nice. So yeah, I'm making a crucifix. This is a new workspace for me. We just moved into this house, so I just got this set up. There's still boxes everywhere on this side of the room. But this space right here is more than I'm accustomed to working with, which is crazy. Just think about that. I have more to work with here than I usually have to do any of my projects. So that's kind of wild. I still got this one laying around. I'm going to be getting this put on this cross here pretty soon. And then shipped off to the customer. But that's another story. So yeah, I'm making my brother a crucifix. And I thought that I'd, kind of take you along for the ride and show you just kind of my process. It's not like a perfect process. I'm still learning as I go along. I've worked with these before. However, it's been a while since I've done this. So I ordered these little... Juliana Lepine is the name of the provider of this product. It's like these little skulls, right? Hopefully you can see that. I really can't see because I pushed the viewfinder out of the way. These little resin skulls, I've used them on 2 different crucifixes and I really like them. I typically do this when I know that the crucifix I'm making, that's my dog making all that noise. I know that the crucifix I'm making is going to have its teeth showing. It's like really the only reason I use this. Or if the eyes are going to be open, I'll utilize something like this. But again, I've only done it twice. So the first step is to make an armature. I've made tons of different types of armatures and I finally got down a process I think kind of works. Some of the things that you'll need to do this are pretty simple. Armature wire, this is 3mm wire. I got it from Amazon. This stuff is like, I think it's like 12 bucks for this pack, but it lasts you forever. I highly suggest getting this. I used to work with this stuff. This is like steel cable and it's a lot harder to bend and to work around than this stuff, which almost bends like melted butter. It's pretty cool. So I just got a brand new one because I finally ran out of the last one I had. So I'll get this open. Okay. How I make my armatures is pretty simple. Now you can like I used to measure out the actual size of like proportions. So you got something like this. Oh shoot, it just came right off the base. Hold on. Don't want to knock over that cup of water I got over there. If I were going based off these proportions, like that skull is just a little bit too small for these proportions, so I'd probably make it like that much shorter. I used to like kind of go based off of things like this a lot more. However, I've just grown accustomed to kind of doing the proportions on my own. I think they say it's like 8 heads lengths or something is the size of the body. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, so that size for this man, that's probably good. I don't know. I could be wrong. So the first thing I do, again, you'll just have to eyeball this. Unless you don't and just measure it all, which again might be the right decision for you. I don't know. I usually start with just a simple loop, kind of like a U shape. This is going to be everything from the feet up to the shoulders, right? So the head's going to be right up here, right? And already looking at this, I think this is probably going to be too long, but we can always make it shorter. It's a lot harder to make it longer after you've cut it, so we're just gonna stick with this right now. So you wanna get that straight, and then you want to lay out your arms think about the length of an arm. I'm a terrible teacher. That's probably good, right? You want to bend it there. That's like the first arm, right, to the shoulder. Make another loop, right, and come up and make another arm. Now, this would be a good time to get out a measuring tape and ensure that your arm length is the same on each side. I don't have measuring tape around me, so I'm going to just use this. What are you doing? Leave it. Get out of here. Go. So I'll just hold this up to that point. There, that's the length of the first arm. And then the second arm. Okay, perfect. So I can look at that and say that has to be cut right there. Boom. Okay, again, probably not absolutely perfect, but perfect enough for me. So now you want to take this here, put these pieces together. All right, now listen. This right here was probably the most difficult part for me to figure out, is how to put these two things together, because we have to bake this, right? We're baking this in an oven. You can't really use like tape, right? Sometimes if you use a certain type of glue, I found out the hard way that it detaches. Yeah, I was trying for a long time to figure out what's the best way to stick these things together. And then I remembered foil tape, right? This will work perfectly. So the stuff is amazing. I love this stuff, right? It's like this foil tape. And it can withstand the heat, and it has an adhesive, and it sticks it together perfectly. I've never had a problem with it. So this is my recommendation on how to make an armature. It's super simple, guys. If you've ever done any sort of sculpting, you know that armatures are like sometimes the worst part of sculpting. At least it has been for me. That's been my experience. I don't want to speak for everybody else. Maybe there's some psychopath out there who thinks, you know, armature making is like the best part of the experience, which I don't know. That person needs to go see somebody, I think. But you just wrap it around like that, and boom. It's stuck together. It's revolutionary, I'm telling you. You see, if you get this head with the armature attached, you can do that. It's more expensive than, I think just this head costs like $3. If you get the whole armature, it's like $30. I can make my own armature for way cheaper than that. But the head is kind of necessary. So, but it doesn't come with a hole drilled. So what we want to do here is look at the size of the gauge. Now, this isn't metric, so it's a little off. We'll go with 7/64. Put that in our handy dandy drill here. And we want to drill into this head. I've never done this before. Wish me luck. We'll start out nice and slow. We don't want to go too far into the head. But how far do we want to go, really? I don't know. That seems good, I guess. It's like, how much is that? If you guys haven't noticed this yet about me, I really don't like math. So I pretty much try to avoid doing math every chance I can get. Does this even fit in there? Heck yeah, it does. And that works for me. So we're going to go ahead and pop that sucker off. Again, I kind of went a little longer on the arms and legs. I did that on purpose. Because I need to make sure I have enough, you know. So sure, that looks good. I kind of feel like I cut off a little bit too small a piece. So we're going to go a little bit bigger. Boom, there's no way that's too short a neck. Okay. Take this off here. One thing I need in this little office of mine is a trash can. All right. So we want to make sure that sticks on there nice and good. Go all the way around. Okay, nice. Okay. I don't have a trash can. I mean, it's my office, right? So it can just go on the floor. Okay. Let's get this out of here. Put this back in here so I don't lose the bit. Put this back. Always put your tools away, kid. Always put your tool away. Always put your tools away, kid. Always put your tools away. Always put your tools away, kid. Kids, always put your tools away. This is where the artistic eye has to come in because, or math. If you're a mathematic person, is that how you say that? Anyway, if you're into math, like, you could measure everything, but I do it all by eye. I think it gives it more artistic value, makes it less perfect, but sometimes less perfect is better because we're not perfect. So, yeah. Already looking at this, I'm getting over a cold. That's why I sound kind of stuffed up. Already looking at this, I can tell the shoulder's going to be here, right? Then you have your bicep and your forearm. So it really should be like cut right there. This is too long. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut that. The good news is that if I do cut it too short, there's always a way to fix it. If I wanted to add more armature, I could do that. But also there's a way of fixing it to where you really don't have to, right? You could more or less add just more clay there, right? You don't have to really fix the armature. I'm going to take that piece I just cut off because these were even before and just kind of mark where that cut is supposed to happen. Woo-hoo-hoo. Stand up, little sir. That works. Perfect. Okay. They're not absolutely perfect, like a hair off, but will do. There's on my waist. All right. I got my arms in there. That's nice. That looks good. Now I will use a little bit of math here to figure out the actual length of the legs. It's not exact math, but let's look at the arm span, right? Which we all know the arm span of a human is roughly the same length as or size as a person. So, boom. Ah, look at that. We only have to cut off like a little bit, probably like that much, like right there. That's good. A little bit more, right there. Boom. Math. Okay. And again, these two should be roughly the same size. I eyeballed it. It's the same. It's the same. Okay. There's an armature. Kind of. You see, now in my experience, because of the clay I'm using a polymer clay. It's like a plastic clay. I'm going to stop real quick and make sure the camera's still rolling because I don't know. Some people will just stop here, right? And they'll just go on with their lives and think, oh, this is a good little armature. I've tried that before and I don't have much luck with that. It's a plastic clay, right? It basically, when it hardens up, it's basically like plastic. It's like a PVC, almost like a resin. At least it feels that way. Anyway, you have to soften it with your hands to really get malleable. But in my experience, when I use this clay, I would really like to get into other things, but this is just so easy to work with and it's really forgiving. So I don't know. I like it. It's a cool little medium to have. Most people make like earrings and little charms out of polymer clay, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna make like a whole thing. So you know, you could look at this and say, oh, let's just pop on this sucker right here onto the arm, right? Open it up, bada bing bada boom, we have it on our armature, right? Yeah, but no. See, my experience, this comes right off. It has no grip onto the smooth armature, which is why I take some of this steel wire. What gauge is this, so you guys know? I'm sure it says somewhere around here. 24 gauge. What I'll do with this is I'll just take long amounts of it, take it out of here, and I wrap this on my armature. That does two things for me. A, it gives it a little bit more structure and thickens the arms and legs a little bit. So I'm using a little less clay. Not a whole bunch, but you know, every little bit counts. But the biggest thing is that it gives it something to grip onto, okay? Now, again, I could measure this and get like a precise amount, but I don't like doing that. It takes too much time. So I'm gonna fold this in half. I just took a long amount. Oh, it's like 3 feet when folded in half. You wanna put this around the neck, just like so. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. And then start wrapping it, right? I just wrapped it around the neck once like a necktie, and then I'm gonna go around here, all the way down the arm, and then all the way back up as it pokes me in the eye and the face and everywhere else. Oh, God. Come back down the arm, and then you want to go down the leg, okay? Just like so. Actually, I'm going to cross over here and do this leg. Okay, go all the way around, and then come back up in that same fashion. It looks like I did cut off a little too much, but not to worry. The more the merrier sometimes. In this case, yes, it works that way. So I'll just go back down the leg. It's not a big deal. And I'll just do this back and forth until I run out of wire, which is right there. Now, I could just put this on there, but I tend to get stabbed. So I'm going to actually take my pliers here. I'm going to feed it through. I'll pull that through. That just ensures that it stays on tight, and then I'll wrap off the rest here. Like so. Okay. Now the other side, again, same thing. Wind down the arm. Go back up it. Try not to get gouged out by this thing. Come across, make a little X here. I'm crossing my pattern. Does that do anything? I don't know. It's just, it works for me. Come back down, boom, and go back up. And then we're going to take our pliers and just pull it through. Wrap it around the rest of the way. Bada bing, bada boom. We have our armature. This is the finished armature. This is one I've used for like the last probably 7 or 8 crosses I've done. It is the most efficient way of making an armature that I've found. One thing I will note is you'll see I never always go all the way down. Can you see that? Okay. You can see right there that the armature wire, the second thinner gauge, 24 gauge wire I put on does not go all the way down. That's because I want to leave this mark clear, so in case I have to cut off more. Same thing with the feet. In the other hand, I always leave a little bit there for me to cut off. This is an image from the Passion of the Christ. My brother, like me, it's his favorite movie. And I've always wanted to make a replica of that crucifix, right? I've always wanted to do that. And now I think that's a good time. So if you look at that picture, you kind of just get a general sense that, okay, his right arm is higher up than his left arm. He's leaning on this arm, right? So that's kind of like that. Put our jawline, here, we'll put the jaw in real quick. These are super easy to attach. You just take a little bit of clay and stick it up here in the jaw. I don't even need that much, probably just half of that. Okay. You guys got to use references. Use references, people, okay? Like, they'll help you, okay? So, like, here, I'm looking at this photo. I'm looking at my reference. I'll just set it there. He's leaning on this arm quite a bit. In fact, his head is laying on that arm, but I got to account for the actual thickness of the arm. This arm is pushed back a little bit, and his left shoulder is kicked forward just slightly. And then his chest is actually pumped out quite a bit. So we're going to do that. Push the arms back. Bada bing, bada boom. That's looking good. Head still cocked down to the side. Really kind of turned. And then I don't know how his legs look. We'll go based off the picture below it on Google here. Actually a little outward, which is kind of unusual to see, but that's how it looks. All right, there we go. That's the general shape of the crucifix. This is going to get pushed around and changed a million times. It just helps us get it on there and to see it. Because then you can start to envision like what this thing's going to actually look like. So this is the end of part 1. In part 2, I'm going to just start bulking this up and getting my general shapes in. And we have to move fast with this, guys. So this is going to be like a couple days probably to build this thing. I usually take months and months to do these. But since it's for my brother and I just want to get it to him as soon as possible. What's all this stuff that people say? Subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you, guys.